thrown out into the rain with nothing but a backpack. He had just $10 left when he bought a broken RV no one wanted. Inside that RV was a locked door hidden deep in the walls, and it was tied to his dead father's past. When he finally opened it, he discovered a truth that turned his entire life upside down. Before we start, join our YouTube by subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to like this video and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. Now let's get into the story. The night I got kicked out, I had nowhere to go. A broken RV I bought for $10. If you've ever felt like the world just decided you don't matter anymore. Because that RV, I still remember the sound of the door slamming behind me. Just, final, no yelling. My mom didn't even look at me. Maybe she'd say something. So I picked up my backpack and walked out. 17 years old. The rain hit me the moment I stepped outside. Within seconds, my hoodie was soaked through. I didn't even hurry. I didn't have friends who'd take me in. Just a phone with 12% battery. The only person who ever made me feel like I mattered. Car accident, that's what they told me. Flickering lights. The kind of place people only stop at when they have no other choice. I sat on the curb, pulling my knees to my chest, trying to ignore the cold. A small, handwritten sign taped to the side of a rusted RV parked near the dumpsters. I actually laughed. Yeah, right, I muttered. The thing looked like it had been through a war. Windows cracked, but something about it, I don't know why, broken, forgotten, left behind. A man stepped out from behind the RV, greasy jacket. You looking to buy? He asked. Almost. He shrugged. Sometimes? It'll move, he said. I didn't answer. I didn't need it to move. How much again? $10. Counted it twice, and some coins. I looked back at the RV, then back at the RV again. I asked quietly. Longer than comfortable, kid. Why do you even want this thing? Because I had nowhere else to go. It was raining so hard it felt like the sky was trying to erase me, except for one thing I didn't understand. That came with a locked door I wasn't supposed to open. Then you'll understand why I didn't walk away. It was the only thing I had left, not loud, not dramatic. Don't come back, my stepdad said. No anger, just cold. I stood there in the hallway for a second longer than I should have, hoping. She didn't. That was it. And officially invisible. Cold, sharp, relentless. I didn't run. Where was I going to go? No money, no plan. And a backpack with some clothes and an old photo of my dad. He died when I was 10, or at least I ended up at a gas station on the edge of town. Empty parking lot, just like me. That's when I saw it. For sale, out loud, $10. Rust eating through the sides. Tires barely holding air, pulled me in. Maybe it was because it looked like me, or maybe it was something else. Older. Late 50s maybe. Eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in years. I almost said no, but instead I asked, does it even run? Sometimes. I raised an eyebrow. That's all you need, right? Because the truth was, I just needed somewhere to exist. I asked, even though I already knew. I reached into my pocket, $9. That was everything I had. Then at the man, will you take 9? He stared at me for a moment. Then he sighed. I swallowed hard. Because no one wanted me. Because this rusted piece of metal was the only thing in the world that wasn't telling me to leave. But I didn't say any of that. I just said, I need it. He studied my face, like he was looking for something. Then finally he nodded. Fine, 9. Relief hit me so hard my knees almost gave out. I handed him everything I had, every last coin. He took it, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small set of keys. As he handed them to me, his expression changed. Something serious. Listen, he said. There's one thing you need to know. My chest tightened. What? He hesitated, like he was deciding whether to say it at all. Then he leaned in slightly. There's a door inside that RV, he said quietly. My grip on the keys tightened. A door? Yeah, he nodded. Locked. Been that way for years. Why? He shook his head. Never opened it. Never wanted to. A chill ran through me, and it wasn't from the rain. What's behind it? I asked. He stepped back, already turning away. Not my problem anymore. And just like that, he walked off. I stood there for a long moment, keys in my hand, rain still pouring, heart beating faster than it should have. A locked door, inside a broken RV. It didn't make sense. None of this did. But then again, nothing in my life made sense anymore. I climbed inside. The door creaked loudly behind me as I shut it. The smell hit first. Dust, old fabric, rust. But it was dry. Warm enough. Mine. I dropped my backpack onto one of the torn seats and looked around. The place was worse on the inside. Wires hanging from the ceiling. Cabinets half broken. Floor creaking under every step. But then, I saw it. At the back of the RV. A narrow hallway. And at the end of it, a door. Different from the rest. Metal. Old. And locked. My heart started pounding. That must be it. The door. I walked toward it slowly. Each step louder than the last. The air felt heavier the closer I got, like the RV itself didn't want me going back there. I reached the door. Ran my fingers over the surface. Cold. Solid. There was no handle, just a small keyhole, and scratches around it, like someone had tried to force it open before. Why would someone lock a door inside an RV? I whispered. No answer, just silence, but not empty silence, the kind that feels like it's hiding something. I stepped back, my mind racing. I should ignore it, right? I mean, I just got this place. I needed to survive first, figure out food, work, life, not chase some weird mystery, but that curiosity, it wouldn't let go. Because for the first time in a long time, something in my life didn't feel empty. It felt important. I turned away from the door. I'll deal with it tomorrow, I said to myself. Yeah, tomorrow, after I figure everything else out. I went back to the front and sat down, pulled my knees up again, same position as before, but different because now I had walls, a roof, a place, even if it was falling apart. It was mine. I pulled out the old photo of my dad, looked at it in the dim light. You'd probably laugh at this, I said quietly. Buying a broken RV for $9, sleeping in it like it's some kind of victory. But then again, he always told me something I never really understood until now. Sometimes, he'd say, the worst things hide the best opportunities. I used to think that was just something adults say to make kids feel better. Now, I wasn't so sure. Because that door, that locked hidden door, it didn't feel random. It felt like a secret, a big one, and I had a feeling, whatever was behind it, was going to change everything. I just didn't know yet if it would save me or destroy me. I didn't sleep that night, not really. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that door, not just the door itself, but what might be behind it. Money, junk, something illegal, or worse. Something that would get me in trouble just for finding it. The rain finally stopped sometime around 3 a.m., but the silence that followed was even louder. Every creak of the RV made my heart jump. Every gust of wind felt like someone trying to get in, and somewhere in the back of my mind, there was this quiet voice whispering the same thing over and over. Open it. By morning, I felt like I hadn't slept at all. My stomach was twisting from hunger. My head was pounding, and reality hit hard. I had $9 yesterday. Now I had nothing. No food, no job, no future. Just a broken RV, and a locked mystery. Focus, I muttered, rubbing my face. Survive first, then worry about secrets. I grabbed my backpack and stepped outside. The world looked different in daylight. Less dramatic, less emotional, just normal. People driving to work, kids heading to school, life moving on, like nothing happened, like I didn't exist again. I spent the next few hours walking around asking for small jobs. Cleaning, carrying boxes, anything. Most people didn't even let me finish my sentence. A few gave me looks like I was already trouble. One guy at a mechanic shop finally threw me a chance. Clean the back lot, he said. $20. It wasn't much, but it was everything. I worked like my life depended on it. Because it did. Sweeping, hauling junk, scrubbing oil stains until my hands hurt. By the time I was done, my shirt was soaked in sweat, my arms were shaking. But I had $20 in my hand, and for the first time since last night, I felt something close to control. I bought the cheapest food I could find. Bread, peanut butter, water. Then I went back to the RV. My RV. Still couldn't believe that part. As I stepped inside, that smell hit again. Dust, rust, but now it felt different. Familiar, like I belonged there. I sat down, ate slowly, trying to make it last. But even while chewing, my eyes kept drifting back to that hallway. To that door. No, I said out loud. Not yet. But my voice didn't sound convincing, even to me. I tried to distract myself, cleaned a little, organized what I had, checked the cabinets. Most were empty, except one. In the corner, half-broken door hanging loose. Inside, I found something. A small metal box, old, rusty, but intact. My heart skipped. Okay, and that's new. I pulled it out carefully. It wasn't locked, just stuck. I pried it open. Inside, nothing valuable. No money, no gold, just papers. I almost dropped it in disappointment. But something made me pause. The papers weren't random. They were neatly stacked, tied together with a faded string, like someone wanted them to be found. I untied it, started flipping through most of it. Looked like old receipts, notes, random scribbles, until I saw a name. My hands froze. My breath caught. No way. I flipped back, looked again. Same name. Clear as day. My dad's name. My heart started racing. That's not possible. I whispered it like saying it louder would break it. I dropped onto the seat, staring at the papers. Page after page, his name kept showing up. Dates, addresses, numbers I didn't understand. But it was him. It had to be. How? I leaned back, mind spinning. This RV, this random broken RV, had something connected to my dad? No, that didn't make sense. He died years ago, far from here. Different life, different world. Unless I didn't know the full story. That thought hit like a punch, because suddenly, everything I thought I knew about him felt shaky. I grabbed the photo from my backpack, compared it to the name again. Same spelling, same initials, everything. Okay, I exhaled slowly. Think. Maybe it was just coincidence. Common name. Could happen, right? But deep down, I knew it wasn't. Because that door, that locked door, and now this, it was too much to be random. I stood up, heart pounding again, walked toward the hallway, slower this time, more careful, like I was stepping into something bigger than I understood. I reached the door, placed my hand against it, cold again, unmoving, silent. If you're connected to this, I whispered, then what were you hiding? My fingers tightened into a fist. I wanted to break it open. Right there, right then, forget everything else. Just force the truth out. But then reality hit again, hard. If something illegal was inside, if this was connected to something dangerous, I could lose the only thing I had, or worse. I stepped back, breathing heavy. Not like this, I said. I need to be smart. For the first time, this didn't feel like curiosity anymore. It felt like a puzzle, a dangerous one. I went back to the papers, looked closer. There were patterns, numbers repeated, addresses circled. One location showed up more than the others, over and over again, almost like it mattered. I grabbed a pen, wrote it down, stared at it. It wasn't far, maybe a couple miles. My mind started connecting pieces. What if this wasn't just about the RV? What if this was something my dad left behind? Something unfinished. And somehow, I ended up here. The thought gave me chills, but also something else. Purpose. For the first time since I got kicked out. I didn't feel lost. I felt like I was on the edge of something. I looked back at the door one more time. Still locked. Still silent. Still waiting. Whatever you're hiding, I said quietly, I'm going to find it. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But soon. Because now, it wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about the truth. And I had a feeling that truth was worth a lot. More than $10. I didn't go to sleep that night either. It wasn't fear keeping me awake. Something sharper. That address I found in the papers. Why was it written so many times? And why? Was my dad connected to it? I wasn't going to wait. I needed answers. Was the first place to start. The air was cold but clean. Like the world had shifted overnight. I was chasing something, long, quiet roads, every step filled with questions I couldn't answer yet. This wasn't random anymore. I stopped. This has to be wrong, I muttered. Wasn't some abandoned building. No, a massive, clean, modern facility, security gates, and a sign right out front. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just weird anymore. I moved closer, staying near the edge of the sidewalk. People in suits walked in and out like it was just another normal day. Why would my dad's name be connected to this place? He wasn't rich, so what was this? Checked the address, no mistake. The guard scanned something and let it pass. This place was tight. Whatever happened here. Okay. I whispered. I couldn't just walk up and ask questions, or worse, start asking me questions. I waited. I sat across the street, pretending to be on my phone. Learning. Employees used keycards. Security rotated every 2 hours. I saw something that made my heart stop. Mid-40s, confident walk, but that's not what hit me. I had seen it before, not recently. A photo I hadn't looked at in years, folded between old things I never threw away. Flipped through until I found it, my dad, but this time, it was something stronger. Purpose. It kept replaying in my head like a broken loop. Why was it circled? By sunrise, I had already made the decision. I wasn't going to sit around wondering, and that address. I grabbed my backpack, stuffed the papers inside, and stepped out of the RV. Everything felt different. Like I wasn't just surviving anymore. The walk took almost an hour, empty sidewalks, but one thing was clear. When I finally reached the location, completely, because standing in front of me, or a rundown place like the RV, it was the opposite, tall glass windows, cameras on every corner, Virex Corporation. What the hell? This was big, trying not to draw attention, but nothing about this felt normal to me. He wasn't a businessman. He barely made enough to get by. I pulled out the papers again. Same one, a car pulled into the gate. No hesitation, controlled. They didn't want just anyone walking in. Think. They'd shut me down immediately. So I did the only thing I could. Hours passed watching. Patterns started to form. Deliveries came through a side entrance, and then a man stepped out of the building. Sharp suit. The kind of person who owned the room without trying. It was his face, not in real life, but in a photo back in my backpack. My hand shook as I pulled it out. There, standing next to another man, smiling. And that man was the one walking out of the building right now. No way. My chest tightened. Breathing got heavier. That's him. The realization hit hard. This wasn't just connected to my dad. This was personal. I looked back up. The man was getting into a black car. Before he did, he paused, looked around. For a second, our eyes almost met. I quickly looked down, heart pounding. The car drove off, and just like that, I had a face, a connection, a lead, but also a new problem. Because people like him don't just exist in the same world as people like me, and if he was connected to my dad, then whatever this was, it was bigger than I thought, way bigger. I stayed a little longer, trying to calm my thoughts, trying to figure out the next move. Then something else caught my attention. A delivery truck, pulling into the side entrance. The gate opened. The truck rolled in slowly, and for a split second, the inside was visible. Boxes, equipment, and a hallway. My eyes narrowed. There was a moment. Small, easy to miss. But I caught it, a door inside that hallway. Metal, old, different from everything around it. Just like the one in my RV. My heart started racing again. No, I whispered. It couldn't be, or could it? That same type of door. In a place like this? That wasn't coincidence. That was a connection. A direct one. I stood up slowly. Everything inside me was screaming now. This wasn't just about my dad. This wasn't just about some old papers. This was something real. Something hidden. And somehow, I was right in the middle of it. I walked back. Faster this time. Mind racing. Pieces coming together. The RV. The locked door. The papers. The address. The man. It was all connected. It had to be. When I finally got back to the RV, I didn't hesitate. I went straight to the hallway. Stood in front of the door again. But this time, it didn't feel like just a mystery. It felt like a key. A missing piece. Something that could explain everything. Or destroy everything I thought I knew. My hand hovered near the surface. Whatever's behind this, I said under my breath. You're not just hiding from me. I leaned closer. There's a whole company out there connected to you. Silence, but not empty. Waiting. Challenging. I clenched my jaw. I'm done waiting. I stepped back, looked around, grabbed a rusted metal bar from the corner, came back to the door, raised it, paused for just a second, because deep down, I knew this was it. The moment everything changed. Once I broke this open, there was no going back, no pretending, no ignoring, just truth, and whatever came with it. I tightened my grip, took a breath, and swung. The first hit didn't break the door. It barely left a mark. But the sound, it echoed through the RV like I had just done something I couldn't undo. I froze, heart racing, listening, Nothing, just silence pressing in from every side. Okay, I whispered, gripping the metal bar tighter. Then I swung again, harder this time. The metal groaned. A small crack appeared near the lock. Again. Each hit louder, each strike pushing me past the fear that had been holding me back since last night. Finally, one last swing. The lock snapped. A sharp crack rang out, and the door opened slightly. Cold air rushed out instantly, not just stale, but freezing, like it had been sealed for years. This is it, I muttered. I pushed the door open fully and stepped inside. It wasn't a normal room. It was a hidden compartment, small, tight, but perfectly organized. Shelves lined the walls, metal boxes, stacks of folders. This wasn't junk. This was planned. My chest tightened. This was yours, I whispered. I grabbed a folder, opened it. Documents, contracts, technical diagrams I couldn't fully understand. But one thing stood out immediately. My dad's name, over and over again, and next to it, a title, Lead Systems Engineer. I stared at it. That's not possible. The man I knew fixed things for neighbors. He wasn't some engineer leading projects. Or maybe I never really knew him at all. I flipped through more pages, and then I saw it. A phrase repeated everywhere. Project Hollow Core. Highlighted. Underlined. Important. What is that? I kept searching. Faster now. Then I found a photo. Old. Faded. A group of people standing in front of a massive underground structure. And there, my dad, standing next to the same man I saw outside that company. Both smiling, like they built something together. My hands started shaking. This wasn't an accident, I whispered. That story about his death. It didn't feel real anymore. I moved deeper inside. That's when I found it. A small locked case, different from everything else. Important. I broke it open. Inside, a device. Small, custom-built. And next to it, a folded note. My breath slowed. I opened it carefully. The handwriting hit me instantly. It was his. Ronnie, if you're reading this, I couldn't keep you out of this. My chest tightened. Virex is dangerous. They're building something that should not exist. I clenched the paper. I tried to stop it. My vision blurred slightly. That drive contains the truth. My eyes dropped to the device. They will come for it. And for you. A cold chill ran through me. I'm sorry, but if you're reading this, finish what I started. The last line, I love you. That was it. I sat there in silence. Everything felt different now. He didn't just die. He was silenced, and now I had what they wanted. I picked up the device slowly. They're coming, I whispered. My grip tightened. Let them. Because for the first time, I wasn't running anymore. I was ready. I didn't waste time. The moment I stepped out of that hidden compartment, I knew everything had changed. I packed fast. The device, the papers, the photo. Only what mattered. Because my dad was right. They would come, and I couldn't be there when they did. I stepped outside the RV one last time. Looked at it, that broken, rusted thing. The only place that ever felt like mine. It saved me, I whispered. Then I walked away. I didn't go far, just enough to stay hidden, just enough to watch. And then I saw them, 2 black SUVs, pulling up slowly. My chest tightened. They're already here. Men stepped out, not loud, not aggressive, just controlled. That was worse. They moved straight to the RV, like they already knew. One of them forced the door open. Another went around back, searching, precise, professional. I stayed hidden behind a broken wall across the lot. Heart pounding so hard I thought they'd hear it. One of the men came back out. Shook his head. Empty. They didn't find it. A small breath escaped me. But it didn't last long, because the man in the suit stepped forward. The same one. From the facility. The one in the photo. He looked around slowly. Then his eyes stopped. Right on me. My blood ran cold. There was distance between us. But somehow, it felt like he could see everything. What I had. What I knew. He didn't move. Didn't shout, just stared. Then he gave a small smile. Not friendly, not angry, certain. Like this wasn't over. Like he'd already won. A chill went through me. But I didn't look away. Not this time. I tightened my grip on the device in my pocket. You took my dad, I whispered under my breath. But you're not taking this. For the first time, I didn't feel like a kid. I felt like someone with a purpose. Someone who had something worth fighting for. I turned and walked away, not running, not hiding, moving forward, because now I had the truth, and they had something to fear. And no matter how big they were, no matter how powerful, they made one mistake. They thought I was nothing, but they were wrong, and I was going to prove it, one step at a time, until the truth came out, until my dad got justice, and until I finally had something I never thought I would again, a reason to keep going. If you made it this far, tell me, would you run or fight?